Today, students at Dennis Intermediate School are returning to school for the first time since a shooting there in December.
A teenager taking his own life after an active shooter situation at the school.
And this morning, we've got team coverage. Our Aaron Lish is on the ground in Richmond, and Paris Lubell is tracking the latest details on the investigation into the day of the shooting. We do want to start things off with Aaron, where students will be arriving at school in just a few hours.
Good morning. So it was a typical day on December 13th until a teen showed up with a gun. Thankfully, no students, no staff or officers were hurt, but that's certainly changing things going forward. When it comes to safety, the school district is indicating that they will be using the Raptor Visitor Management System. If you visit one of the schools, you must give them your state issued ID. It will end up being scanned, and then that ID will be printed out when you have to wear that. The day of the shooting could have been, of course, much worse, but the shooter's mother contacted police in enough time so that the school could go on lockdown and law enforcement could respond quickly. And if you recall, the 14-year-old boy who came to the school ended up killing himself after shooting at officers and shattering a glass door. Now, less than 24 hours ago, the superintendent praised all who helped since that tragedy and said it shows how the Richmond community has come together to overcome this adversity. Now, students will be returning very soon. School should open up just before 8 o'clock, and school starts just after 8 o'clock at 8:15. But we're going to continue this team coverages, sending it over to our Call 6 Investigates Paris Lubell. Paris, you have been following the investigating of the shooting since day one.
Aaron, that's right. It's been a complex investigation that's including federal and local law enforcement. And although that investigation is still ongoing, one of the big questions still out there is, how did the 14-year-old boy get his hands on the guns on the day of that shooting?
They're going to be entering the school at this time. He's entering on the east side of the school.
It all happened in a little less than 30 minutes. As Call 6 first told you after the shooting, we learned the boy was armed with a .45 caliber handgun and a .223 caliber rifle with a scope attached. That rifle uses rounds like this, the same used in an AR-15 assault rifle. But where did the 14-year-old get access to those guns? Sources with knowledge of the investigation tell us they determined those guns came from a gun cabinet inside the boy's home. Then, on that Thursday morning of the shooting, the 14-year-old took a male family member hostage and forced them to drive him to his former middle school. But the boy's mother calling 911 and giving the school and police valuable minutes to lock down the building before he arrived.
Now, that investigation is still ongoing, but coming up in our next half hour, we'll go into more detail about that gun cabinet and how the boy was able to open it on the day of the shooting. We'll also look at some of the legislation that is happening since the shooting. This is the second shooting in 2018 that happened in a school, and now lawmakers are starting to take notice. We'll have that all coming up in our next half hour. For now, live this morning, Paris Lubell, RTV 6.
Paris, thank you.